it's Mary Ann from the New York City Organization of Public Service Retirees. I was shared some audio and questioned, what does this mean? That's a really good question. If I can take some of it in the context that it was presented to me, that it was from a United Federation teachers meeting, and all I have is the audio, and I don't have too much of it, but what I'm going to break down for you is this specific issue. And this has been raised over the last couple of weeks that the United Federation of Teachers Union has over $800 million in reserves. So if one was to speculate about that, you could say a few things. I mean, building a reserves is actually important because you want to be able to keep funding those benefits that you do have in case costs increase or your membership decreases and you're not collecting dues or something happens and you want to make sure that there is a reserve there. And that's actually a smart thing to do. But then the teachers had said, listen, there were people that were asking why we're not using some of that to fund current or improve current benefits. And I want to play that section of the video of the audio for you, and I also want to try to explain what some of it means. So let's go to the audio tape.
Questions, and I saw Rezo today. We've been having these questions lately, and I just want to be clear about this. People have been, it came up in an executive board and something else. I just want to talk this through. The welfare fund. Let me be. First, we have the best welfare fund on the planet. Let's just be clear. We do. People have been, all our records are transparent. We don't hide anything. It all has to be filed on all federal and state laws and all the rest of it. We do all of that. And we right now have a reserve of $800 million. Okay? So people are saying, we want to spend this now on these type of things and everything else. I want to explain why we did this. Okay? First, with the simple things. We're the welfare fund who doesn't deny drugs. No other union can say that. No other union can say that.
Now, that is interesting in itself because we get statements from retirees asking them for help because they are getting denied drugs within the UFT drug plan. So I'm interested in hearing what he means by that. Does he mean only the active teacher plan and under 65 retiree plan? Because your retirees are not in the union drug plan. They actually have to purchase the drug plan from the city. So maybe he's not meaning that. Maybe he means the active workers and under 65 retirees. And if that's the case, well, we're also hearing from active teachers that they're also being denied drugs, and some pretty cheap drugs as well. So I'm not understanding where that's coming from, but let's move on.
We don't deny drugs. Every month there's new drugs coming out. New drugs coming out every month. Some of them, depending on what they do, are very expensive. So automatically what happens is most welfare funds say they're not paying for it. We don't do that. We pay for everybody's. I'll never forget Hep C. Remember hepatitis C? The drug came out. It was $85,000. $85,000. It cures hepatitis C. Cures it. Never happened before. What did we do? We said, all of our folks with hepatitis C, go get the drug. We'll pay for it. We'll take care of it. Not many other welfare funds. They continued them on the maintenance program, which is much cheaper. Okay? That's the first piece. So we always constantly looking at these things. Then by law, we have a right to say no to anyone once they use $100,000 in welfare in drug benefits during a single year. Do you think we have a lot of families, because we cover whole families, who have over the years have gone over the $100,000 mark? Yeah, lots of them. Lots of them. Okay? And guess what? We have never denied them any of their drug coverage. Any of it. Not a single one of them. And some of them, believe me, They were in real crisis with some crazy drugs, and those bills were quite large. We're talking some of them going over $500,000 for an individual person during a year. So what has happened now is to keep what we've been doing is we're trying to keep our reserves in a place for the new drugs coming down the pike. We don't want to deny anyone. And at the same time, we know we're constantly in a battle with the city of New York over all of our health care. It's not just retirees, it's in service. So we want to be prepared at all times to make sure that we can, if we get into a massive fight and something has to go to court and it's ugly with the city of New York, we can continue our service for at least a year while we figure it out. Then we're constantly looking at how to give future benefits. We've done a new eyeglass benefit. My wife told me about that. She said, your eyeglasses are all scratched. Why don't you use the own benefits you guys do? We do hearing aids because it's a big issue with our retirees and a hearing, which is great, but now hearing aids over the past 15 years, they basically become you're buying a used car. Okay, I had to get two for my mother. She's not a UFT person. I bought two used cars. And she turns them off whenever I walk in anyway. So no, she's just like, you're here, but you're going to be on the phone. I don't want to hear it. That's all she does.
So let's break that down a little bit. There's over $800 million surplus in his welfare fund that he has in a reserve. And teachers are asking, why is this not being utilized, or some of it being utilized in some way? So what has happened since 2014? Well, we talk about the 2014 and 2018 MLC agreements. And this is where Michael, under the auspice of the Municipal Labor Committee, created these healthcare savings agreements, which was an agreement by an umbrella group of unions, primarily led by him and Henry Garrido of DC 37, to commit to healthcare savings. Basically, deductibles, narrowing networks, prior authorizations, increased copays, to save money. And what it really was cost transfer. And they've been doing this for decades. And so one of those agreements that we talk about all the time in the 14 and 18 agreements does require that the city and the Municipal Labor Committee, the unions, commit to healthcare savings. And if they reach those benchmarks, the city would give them an additional $165 per person, per retiree and active worker in service towards the union's welfare fund. Unions were getting a lot of money from that, but it was very quickly destabilizing the stabilization fund. It was defunding it. And while the purpose of the stabilization fund was to create funding to pay the premium difference between the HIP benchmark, is what the city has to pay up to for everybody, and the GHI plan, which was the most favored popular plan among in-service and retirees, they destroyed the fund that was created to do that, and then drained it by taking more money out of the stabilization fund. Now, they counted on forcing all of their retirees, stripping them from choices of all their healthcare plans, forcing them into managed care. And the city said, if you do this, we'll give you that $600 million we were spending on them. We're going to put in your welfare fund. We'll put it in the stabilization fund. And so they greedily accepted that proposal and they banked on it, which is why they kept taking money out of the stabilization fund. That money was funding welfare funds, including the United Federation of Teachers. So now you say, well, what happened? Well, since the court ruled what they did was illegal and violated the promise of what was made to us, even though we're going through some appeals that the city has been challenging all of their losses in court, the unions are still pushing forward to do this. And basically what Michael did was destabilized healthcare, did all of these things to suppress the benchmark, HIP. He suppressed it in 2016, narrowed networks, copays, prior authorizations, which he feels are fine. And unfortunately, it creates a gatekeeping process between you and your provider, you and your doctor. And then now he reveals he has this $800 million surplus. And this line that just in case he has to go to war with the city, he at least has a war chest. So what he's basically saying to you is if he has to go to the mattresses with the city, he can fund healthcare for the teachers until the war is over, for at least a year. But this war is something he created by agreeing to diminish healthcare benefits, to quote, save money, going back to 2014 so he could get the contract raises. Look, we've said it time and again, no one will ever deny New York City retirees, including teachers, need raises. You all work very, very hard. We know we did your job. However, it shouldn't be on the backs of workers. And what is happening today is that because of what's happened, the city is still getting its savings. They still get their savings from the narrowed network prior authorizations, the increased copays, the increased deductibles. But the unions aren't getting the benefit of the $165 from the stabilization fund because the stabilization fund doesn't really have a lot of money because of the decisions that they made. And unfortunately, they made a decision that gave them this money. It was basically a double give back. We're going to reduce healthcare costs for the city, and then we're going to take money out of our pot. But that was their own savings account. If they really wanted to benefit, they should have told the city the money has to come to their welfare funds through the general fund, not through the stabilization fund. So it is a double give back. And I think something is going on, especially with the active worker or the in-service under 65 retiree RFP program, because from what we're understanding, that plan is basically at a stalemate. And they were looking to strip your health care. And we said this to you guys a year ago. They're looking to strip your health care benefits just like they did ours. We had 14 choices of plans. You had 11. They want to give you one. And the one that they want you to have. Not necessarily like over the 60 years where every summary program description book that came out in October said, choose the plan that's best for you. Michael now wants to choose your plan for you, the one that he can control. And if he can control it, he can add more prior authorizations, add more narrow networks, add more deductibles, add more copays. And why? Because he has one of the highest voting weighted averages in the Municipal Labor Committee, and he could do this to everyone in the city as long as he gets the other third from the district council and he gets what he wants. And the city will tell him, like they've told others, you do this and we'll give this money to you. And because he controls the weighted vote in the Municipal Labor Council, he can. So now workers and retirees citywide are still basically give backing with the narrow networks, deductibles, increased copays, et cetera, to the city. The city's got its benefit. You don't have yours. The unions don't have theirs. This was a really bad deal. And it should never have been done. The 2014 contract, the MLC agreement, benefited the United Federation of Teachers. The 2018 benefited District Council 37. In 2014, the teachers set the pattern. In 2018, DC 37 did. And that agreement is in the DC 37 contract, like the 2014 MLC agreement is in theirs. So when we say to you, where is that $800 million going? When Michael Mulgrew said that if they have to go to war with the city, maybe he's right. Maybe there's going to be a legal challenge and he's going to say, look at me, I'm your savior. I'm suing the city. But really, he's only defending something that he started because he wouldn't have been in this situation had he not tried to do this in 2014, commit the entire city workforce into healthcare savings, givebacks, and force retirees that are Medicare eligible into managed care, which is your future, by the way. Don't think we're different than you. This is your future if we don't win this, which is why we've been begging you to get involved. Your healthcare benefits have been diminished, not only in your right now, but your future healthcare benefits as well. And it's only because our organization has fought back and got this stopped in court, an injunction granted. And the mayor keeps challenging that loss. This is your future. We're begging you to listen. Michael wants to paint himself as the knight in shining armor coming in on his silver horse when he caused this whole mess. And now he's telling you, I'm building this war chest. So if I have to go to the mattresses with the city, I can at least give you health care for 12 more months. And then he gives a couple other excuses that it's for drugs or for this or for that. What can I tell you? Anyway, that's my take on that. Have a great day.